So let's look at questions 10 and 12. In question 10, we're going to graph this piecewise function. Now it says to make tables, but it's not necessary to make tables to graph it. Let's just look at each piece, and I'll take it to a Word document so I can draw it on the Word document. So my first piece, if we just don't look at the restrictions over here, is y equals x plus 4. So let's go back to a page and let's graph y equals x plus 4. Okay, so y equals x plus 4 is in y equals mx plus b form. And remember, if something is in y equals mx plus b form, we can use the slope and the y-intercept to graph it. So our slope here is really a 1 in front of that x, which makes our slope a 1 over 1. Let's start with the y-intercept though. We're going to go to 4 on the y-axis. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to plot 0, 4 right there. Now our slope is 1 over 1, so we go up 1 over 1. If it had been a negative 1, it would have been down 1 over 1. But since it's positive, up 1 over 1. So let me put some more tick marks on here. And we're going to go from this point that we've already got up 1 over 1. So this line, normally, I missed, but it would look like this. Not very straight, but you get the idea. Now, let's go back to our problem for a minute, because we have to deal with the restriction. We only want the x values that are greater than or equal to 0. Okay, so if I go back to my picture here, here's an x value of 0. Everything that's greater than 0 is to the right, all right, on the x-axis. Everything greater than 0 is over here. So think of a vertical line going through this 0. We only want what is to the right of that vertical line, really what's to the right of the y-axis here. So we need to erase the left-hand side of this picture. Now, unfortunately, the way the draw works, it's going to erase all of it, and I'll have to redraw. But we know that we only want this part right here. So there's my first piece. And notice when we get ready to put it into my open math, there's a couple points here that we can plot. We can plot 0, 4, and we can plot 1, 5 to help us do that graph. So I'll go ahead and put that one on there. So I'm going to do a line. Actually, I guess I'd do a dot first. 0, 4. And then let's make it a line segment. 1, 5. Okay, so I guess I've got to extend that line segment outward. There we go, just like that. Yeah, I have to make sure it's kind of lining up with 1, 5 right there before I stop that. All right, and then let's go to our second piece. Y equals 3 is our second piece. And fortunately, we just have a constant, y equals 3. Let me change my pen color. This is just a horizontal line. So normally, if we see y equals a number, we're going to go to that number on the y-axis and we're going to draw a horizontal line passing through it. So I want a horizontal line passing through 3 on the y-axis. And of course I missed because I'm not drawing very well. But I need, according to the restrictions, x values less than 0. Now, there's no equal sign with this 0 like there was here. So we had a solid dot right here because of this equal sign. When we get ready to draw this one, though, we're going to need an open circle at 0 because there's no equal sign. So x is less than 0 will be, here's x equals 0. Less than 0 is everything here on the x-axis. All right, so let's draw this so that it is going that way. And let me go back here for a minute before we move it. So, of course, I'm going to have to keep everything over on this side. And I'm just going to erase and redraw. And since there was no equal sign, I need an open circle right here. All right, so there's the picture we want to put into my open math. And let's see. So drawing it on here, I need an open dot first, right there. And then I can do my line segment. And looks like I can just draw that out, going all the way out like that. And there's our picture. Now let's go to 12 in the same fashion. 12 you have to do on paper and then turn it in. So let's notice the first part is a lot like what we just did, y equals 3. If x is less than -1. So let's go back and let's do y equals 3. Again, it's the same kind of piece that we just saw. So y equal 3. It's a horizontal line going through 3. And I'll just change my pen again. So normally, that line would look like that. But we need, according to our restrictions, x is less than -1. So x is less than -1. Here's -1 right here. If you kind of think of an invisible vertical line running through it, we need x values that are less than -1 are out here on the x-axis. If we think of that little vertical line right there, that means we want to keep everything over on this side. All right, so I need to erase the rest, and of course it's going to erase the whole line on me. But if I redraw it, I have this piece right here, straighter hopefully than that on your paper. All right, now, let's see if that had an equal sign. It does not have an equal sign with the less than symbol here. So that means right here at -1, we want an open circle. All right, now let's go to the second piece of our piecewise function. Our second piece is x squared. And x squared is one of the library functions that I gave you in a previous video. So x squared is a parabola. And let me draw it. I'm going to change pens out here. That parabola normally looks like this. Okay, now that parabola though can't be our picture. We can't have the whole thing there. We can already see that it doesn't pass the vertical line test right here. So let's go back and see what our restrictions are. We want it from -1 to 3. Okay, so -1 is right here. That means I need to get rid of all this little piece over here on the left. And then 3 is right here. Okay, I can see that it ends right there. So let's erase. And one of the things we may want to do, just to make sure our graph is correct, is to put -1 in here and to put +3 in here so we can tell exactly where it should be lining up on the graph. So if I put the -1 in here, that gives me a +1, and actually that's about what this appears to be right here, -1, +1. That's the y value. If I put the 3 in, though, I'm probably a little off. Let's see. 3 squared is going to be 9. Yeah, this should probably rise a little steeper here because my point needs to be up here somewhere. So when I redraw here in a second, I will fix that. So we know we don't want anything that's outside of -1 and +3. So I only want the graph that is in here. I need to erase what's to the right of +3 and what's to the left of -1. Now, of course, my eraser is going to erase all of it. Oh, it didn't, but I'm going to, well, let's first just fix this side. We know it begins right there at -1. And then over here, I am just going to erase it and just fix it, the steepness of it, so that we have it going through. Oops, I did not mean to do that. Let's see if I can undo it. Okay. And then kind of go, it needs to go 3, 9. It needs to be a little steeper. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now I know it's not perfect, but we need it to go through that point. Okay, and that's where it's going to stop. So my parabola stops right there. All right, nothing to the right of 3. All right, now, and that should go through 0, 0. My graph is a little bit off drawing on here. But let's check whether or not we have equal signs and whether or not these need to be solid points or open points. And then let's see. So they both have equal signs. They're both solid closed points. And I've already got a closed point on the top there. So that one is also closed. Now let's look at our last piece. If I go back here, the last piece is y equals negative x plus 5. Okay, so my y doesn't look very much like a y there. Okay, now this is y equals mx plus b form again. All right, and here's our slope of -1. Let's make it -1 over 1. And we'll use our slope and our intercept, just like we did in the last one, to graph this. So my intercept is 5. And I'm going to change colors again. My intercept is 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's right there. My slope is -1 over 1. So I'm going to go down 1, right 1. So from this blue point, down 1, right 1 is right there. And try to draw that straight. I can't be perfect here. Now it looks like it could go through 4, 0. We could always check if we stuck the 4 in here. I don't think that's quite right. It probably goes through 5, 0 because I'm not very straight. Because if I stick a 4 in here, I get -4 plus 5. That's 1. So clearly I'm not very straight. I'm going to, when I erase it, I will kind of straighten that out. Okay, so let's go back here for a minute, though. I want x values greater than 3. So here's 3. Everything greater than 3 is over here on the x-axis. So I need to erase everything to the left of 3. Now, it will help us to find out what the y value is at 3, so our line is straight like it should be. So what I'll do is I'll stick the 3 in here. Realize I've got -1 times 3 here. And that gives me -3 plus 5. It should be going through a y value of 2. And mine's not very straight. It clearly looks like it's going through 1 instead of 2. So I need to straighten it out when I erase. So I'm going to erase, and I'm going to need to keep part of the line that comes this way. It comes to the right of 3. So I'll erase it. And now when I fix my line, 3, 2 will be right here. Now, I don't know whether that's open or closed yet, but I do know as I draw it that it's got a -1 slope. So down 1, right 1, and I can do that again if I want. Down 1, right 1, and now I can draw it a little bit straighter. Okay, so there's that piece. Let's decide whether it's open or closed. Going back, there is no equal sign with that 3, so we need an open circle. And there it is. And hopefully that will help with these graphs for you.